Why, how, when, where. In today's time, these queries have an unwavering answer. Google it. The whole world is familiar with Google and its power. The powers of generating not only an answer, but a story behind a question, and the powers of presenting a broad insight of the past or the future of any situation. Many search engines were invented in the past years, but none could thrive as long as this one. Now the word Google is considered the most relatable synonym for the word search. In today's digital world, Google is the premier destination to find just about anything on the whole World Wide Web. The world today would not be what it is if not for a one-syllabled and six-letter word Google. But only a few of us know about the genesis of Google and the people behind this 21st century miracle. The very popular search engine called Google was invented by computer scientists Larry Page and Sergey Brin.
So welcome again to our very own channel, INEVERGAMES.
And today we are going to discuss about the history of Google. So without any delay, let's get started. So let us begin by how the company got its name. Well, it's true that the Google co-founders are certainly fans of wordplay. The name Google was coined by its masters after a Google, the name of the number 1 followed by 100 zeros, which represent the immense amount of information that a search engine has to analyze through. The nomenclature of their company name is both significant and goofy at the same time. Back in 1996, the duo experimented with lots of nerdy names. Initially, they come with the name Backrub because their algorithm analyzed all the backlinks to examine the importance of a website. Later on, they realized that the name Backrub was just not good enough. Brin and Page wanted to come up with a name that would induce the data they were indexing. In a brainstorming session, a graduate student at Stanford named Sin Anderson came up with the name Googleplex, which was reduced to Google by Page. While checking for the domain name, Sin Anderson accidentally searched for google.com instead of google.com. The name instantly clicked Page and registered a domain name google.com. And September 15, 1997, recently Google announced it would change its name to Alphabet, which would be holding company of Google and all its business like YouTube, Android, etc. The step was taken by the company considering the investors so they can be clarity separating the riskier segment of Google from the strengths of Google like search and ads. Genesis of Google. How it all began. Today, we don't have to sneak through huge books to find one line of information. We do not have to run around the whole house to find our pocket dictionary to find the meaning of a new word that we came across. Not only can we find a meaning, we can find synonyms, antonyms, the pronunciations, translations, the origin of the word, and the uses of the same in the past. Getting information has never been this easy, and it is all thanks to the very easy and helpful Google. But like everything else in this world, Google too had a start. It began officially on 4th of September 1998, and the world has never the same. For years, Google has provided students, teachers, parents, job seekers, and recruiters a pathway to acquire the information that they need. It's time to look back and know some history about this giant search engines long away from 1998 to 2021. Someone rightly said, happy endings come after a story with lots of ups and downs. The mastermind behind the epic success of Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, had to fight through some bad days to earn the best days of their life. But how did it all begin? The Google story began in summer of 1995 at Stanford University when Sergey Brin met Larry Page. Sergey Brin was a second-year grad student in the computer science department at Stanford University. During this time, Brin was still deciding whether to attend Stanford for grad school. Brin was involved in showing recruits the campus and leading a tour of nearby San Francisco. It was during the time Larry Page, who was an engineering major, ended up in Brin's group. It was hardly love at first sight. Initially, Page and Brin found each other obnoxious and had a kind of bantering thing going, but as iron sharpens iron. These two geniuses were evidently drawn together and come up with the most thriving search engine of the 21st century, eventually. Let's start the journey. Larry Page met a lot of brilliant people during his journey. In the very beginning, it all started as a research project, the year 1995, by Larry Page and Sergey Brin at Stanford University. The direction that was followed was to find a theme for a dissertation. Larry Page had an idea to explore the mathematical properties of the World Wide Web. While on this journey, Page found out about which web pages link to a specific page and how the information of the backlink is really important. The research project, which was called Backrub, took a new turn as Page, and now joined by Ben developed the algorithm called PageRank. They come up with a technique to figure out how the result can be shown in a better way as compared to the techniques that already existed. This was based on the fact that the pages that have the most links to them from other pages that are much more relevant will be most relevant pages that will be connected to the search. The information helped them to test their theses as part of their studies and began the birth of Google. Play is the highest form of research. Computer scientists love graphs, and World Wide Web is the largest graph to be ever created, is what Page believed at that time. So he started digging deeper by inquiring graduate students and started contemplating about the link structure of the web. He discovered that it was important to find pages which were linking back as a website and find such backlinks, a project which he called Backrub. There were a lot of obstacles which he had to face during his journey. At the time of Backrub, there were an estimated 10 million documents and a massive number of links among them. The computing resources to crawl such a massive number of websites were far beyond his reach at that time. After a lot of brainstorming, Page finally started building out his crawlers. The ranking math. In March 1996, Page directed his first crawler to his homepage at Stanford. Page was actually mindful of the ideas of ranking in scholarly publishing, and he situated the structure of the web diagram could uncover who was connecting to whom, but rather more basic, the significance of who connected to whom. The math get convoluted rather rapidly. Luckily, Page had Brin to help him to get through all the mathematical complexities which they were facing during that time. Brin was the son of NASA scientist, who was also a math professor at the University of Maryland. Brin was born in Russia, but at the age of 6, his family moved to the US. Brin was recognized as a math genius since the time of his school days. After his graduation, he enrolled himself at Stanford University. During this time, Brin goofed around a bit and signed up to different non-academic classes like sailing, swimming, scuba diving, etc. The center of his attention was actually an interesting project instead of actual coursework. Teamwork makes the dream work. Page and Brin started working from a door room on a search engine that was used to links and determine the importance of individual pages on the World Wide Web. Furthermore, they created a ranking system that would recompense important sources and penalize the links which did not come from the source. To solve this paradox, Page and Brin came up with the algorithm dubbed PageRank. With this new algorithm, they were able to calculate the number of links to a particular website and the number of links into each of the linking website, almost similar to the Satanian counting approach. With this major breakthrough, they realized that their data can be implication for internet search, with Backrub, which almost worked like a search engine as it gave the list of backlinks, and their ranking algorithm. They were able to sort these links by importance. We realized that we had a cooling tool, Page Records. It gave you a good overall ranking of pages and ordering of flow of pages. With Backrub search tool, this searched only the words in the page title and applied PageRank to sort the result of relevance. The result of this test was absolutely far superior to any other existing search engine at that time. Page and Brin knew that they were able to rank on the basis of keywords, and they were onto something big. First version of Google. Page and Brin released the first version of Google on the Stanford website in August 1996. After its release, Google became instant hit inside Stanford. Inspired by the initial success of this search engine, Brin and Page began to upgrade their services. They added a full-text search and started indexing more pages. This was the beginning of their extraordinary journey when they discovered the tremendous power of their search engine. At this point in time, they figured out that they will require an exceptional amount of computing resources, for which they didn't even have the money. You never lost a dream, it's just incubates as a hobby. Larry Page. From the garbage to the Googleplex, Page and Brin was supercharged now with their small success and wanted to move on a large scale. To bring Google into existence, they borrowed a hard drive from the network lab, a CPU, and started using Page's dorm room as a machine lab. Page's room was occupied with the whole equipment and moved on to the Brin's dorm room into their office and programming center. The project grew into something of a legend within the computer science department. The project was consuming nearly half of Stanford's network bandwidth, which was pretty remarkable given the fact that Stanford was among the best network foundation on the planet. There were times when their project would break down the Stanford's internet connection. We're lucky that we're a lot of forward-looking people at Stanford, Page recalled. They didn't hassle us too much about the resources we are using. As Brin and Page kept testing, backup, and its Google users were creating buzz, both on the Stanford grounds and inside the scheduled universe of academic web research. At this point of time, Page and Brin weren't even sure that they want to go through the experience of starting and running a company. Over the next few years, Google caught the attention of not only the academic community, but Silicon Valley investors as well as expressed their interest in Google. In August 1998, Sun co-founder Andy Petrischer issued Larry and Sergey a check of $1 lakh, and Google Inc. was officially born. With this investment, the newly incorporated team made the upgrade from the dorms to their first office, a garbage to suburban Menlo Park, California, owned by Susan Wojcicki, clunky desktop computers, a ping pong table, and a bright blue carpet set the scene for those early days and the late 90s. Google, the past, the present, and the future. On September 4th, 1998, in Menlo Park, California, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, two PhD students, came together and gave the world the largest influencer in Google marketing. Their pet project was finally in front of the masses. Moreover, they were able to categorize, index, and open up the World Wide Web in a way that no one has done before. Google authority over the internet became highly unmatched. Google single-handedly revolutionized such marketing. While Brin and Page were busy in unleashing the power of World Wide Web, a new industry of online commerce started to emerge. With the birth of online commerce, a new digital age was going to transform the world of marketing. From digital marketing to social media marketing, online commerce was ready to take on the business world with the 21st century innovation. Brin and Page were all set to bring information to the people at lightning the fast speed, and they've succeeded so far. The evolution of digital landscape. There are many powerful reactions from people with the new evolving digital landscape. All the major businesses were transforming and preparing themselves with the evolving digital landscape. Marketers were seeing a shift in customers' decision-making process with the introduction of ideas such as search engine optimization and social media. The trend of online business was getting viral, and businesses were coming to a realization that they need to satisfy every customer. Staying ahead in search of game. Well, it's true that every industry had to adapt to the new globalized market and changing competition forces. Initially, the search engine results were based on keywords and the backlinks, but Google wasn't satisfied with a whole new industry, which were using paid backlinks and stuffing keywords in order to run higher without improving their quality. Google intervention. The priority of Google has always been to provide the most relevant information based on your search query, and watch the magic happen. The algorithm took care of order and authority of the search result. For this, Google started to eliminate misleading results from its page. The algorithm was modified and hundreds of inputs were used to identify the criteria, which will give them the exact result which the user wants. This is what separated Google from all the other search engines who were trying to make it big in the search engine industry. Whether you want to focus on inbound marketing or paying for earning a spot on the front page of Google, remember these wise words. One piece of advice I give to SEO masters is don't chase after Google algorithm. Chase after your best interpretation of what user wants because that's what Google chasing after. Matt Kurtz, heads of Google Web Spam team. The evolving mission of Google. Did you know that Google drives 96% of revenue from advertising? Has a video platform that is in agreement with the National Basketball Association, a movie studio, celebrities, and is developing a subscription service that would be plug and play for publisher and consumer the whole world over. For our every little query, Google has become an answer, whether it is about finding a recipe, knowing how to deal with personal issues, or keeping track of the latest news and development. All the results are just a click away from us. Apart from being a wonder van for solving problems, Google has now taken up to flourish the business world with its new launches. The technologies are designed keeping in mind the various needs and requirements of the business industry. The motive of introducing this technology is to make the time count and simplify the work process. Some of the technologies that made a splash in past years and changed the dynamics of the business would include Google Neural Machine Translation, designed to solve the problem of language translation. Google Group, a collective space for online discussions on any topic. Google Domains, an effective and convenient domain registry service powered by Google. Google Cloud Platform. It is one of the leading cloud computing platforms in the existing market with competitors like AWS and Microsoft Azure. Google Alerts, a simple and efficient way to set up automatically delivery notification to you about any desired topic within any given time frame. Google My Business, an easy to use offering to help business owners to increase their visibility within Google Search, Google Maps, and Google+. Google AdWords, a paid marketing service which allows businesses to display an advertisement on web users who Google a keyword which is pre-selected for advertisers. For most of us, Google is all about ranking pages and probably the best search engine. Google never reveals that it's a media company and it organizes and manages content. The internet giant stays away from even producing content. At least that's what they say. In recent times, it's also beginning a short strain as Google moves into new dimension altogether. Google keeps launching new products for its consumers in this highly evolving digital landscape. YouTube is another Google product, which is a platform that is more like a network for the post-broadcast world, is another proof of Google's growing media proficiency. The online video behemoth has become the world's third most visited website after Google and Facebook. According to a report, Google has a budget of $100 million set aside for popular celebrities to program their channels on YouTube in order to increase the amount of high-profile content on their website. A peek at Google's future. Google shared its vision for future during its annual developer conference, Google I/O. The focus of the conference was primarily on strengthening its grasp on different aspects of people's life. The conference had a showcase of features intended to make people more connected. The company also gave a glimpse of its plan related to artificial intelligence technology. We are focused on our core mission of organizing the world's information of everyone and approach this by applying deep computer science and technical insights to solve problems at scale, said CEO Sundar Pichai. Google's plan is to enter spaces in our daily lives with the help of personal data gathered from its users with artificial intelligence. Some of the key announcements include Google announced that the company is shifting from mobile first to an AI smart approach. All the new Google products will have AI at its core. Google Lens is another product which has vision-based computing capability. Google Lens has the power to understand what it's looking at. Furthermore, Lens will be integrated with Google Assistant and Photos app. Lens is Google's answer to Facebook's augmented reality camera effect platform. Google Assistant, which is embedded in Android devices like smartphones, watches, and Google Home is expected to become more conversational and better response. Furthermore, with Google Lens, Google Assistant will be able to understand conversations about what we see. It comes so naturally to humans, and now Google is getting really good at conversation too, said Hoffman. Google Home, which is voice-activated smart speaker, will now provide proactive assistance. So you can get the heads up about if the traffic is particularly heavy before leaving your home. Also, hands-free calls are coming to the Google Home speaker. Google Assistant is considered much smarter than Apple Siri. Google has gathered a lot more personal data than Apple. After the recent announcement at Apple's keynote, Google Assistant will be available on iPhone. Google has plans to replace Siri with growing number of frustrated Siri users. Google has launched Super Chat, where an audience member can pay to have their comment featured and in turn donate money to YouTubers. Google for Job is a new search function will make it easier to people to find employment. We want to better connect employers and job seekers now. Google for Jobs, said Pichai. During the AO keynote, the Pichai started the 7 of Google's products and more than a billion monthly users. Google Search, Android, Chrome, Maps, YouTube, Google Play, and Gmail. Google is making plans to attract the next billion customers by focusing on lower income countries which have just started to come online through mobile devices. To fulfill this dream, Google has launched Android to Go, which will be embedded in the latest version of Google's mobile operating system, Android Go. The USP of Android Go is that it uses fewer data and loads apps more quickly despite a poor signal. There has been great hype around virtual reality and augmented reality in recent times. All the major corporations are focusing on these technologies for future. Google is focused more on the immediate practical application. Google has been developing Daydream handset made in collaboration with HTC and Lenovo, which uses a smartphone as a screen. With augmented reality, Google described a visual positioning system with similar to GPS but with accuracy to the level of centimeters. Imagine what it could mean to people with impaired vision, said Clay Weaver, Vice President of Virtual Reality, who suggested that Google-powered camera phones could act as a blind person's eye. With the creation of Google, Larry and Brin have changed the world on the way we work. They have made our lives so easy. Google remembers everything for us and we don't have to memorize anything. Google has transformed itself in many ways. Google became Alphabet 1 year ago to help all of its business operate more efficiently. Google blew up its entire corporate structure to form a new parent company considering the investor so they can have clarity separating the riskier segment of Google from the strengths of Google like search and ads. Now, Alphabet is a massive corporation, ranking in size behind Apple, Samsung, and Microsoft. That encompasses everything from internet beaming hot air balloons to self-driving cars to Google Cloud. Must know things of Google. During its development stage of Stanford, the system demanded so much bandwidth it would regularly to take down the whole of Stanford's internet connection, but it succeeded in letting users search all 24 pages it had stored in its database. On 15 September 1997, Google.com was registered and by the August 1998 the first Google Doodle appeared, a burning man, figure that was intended to let everyone know that both Page and Brin were in the festival in the Nevada desert. Google also got its first funding in the form of check of $100,000 by Andy Bellecial, co-founder of Sun Microsystems, in August 1998 to Google Inc. The trouble was that Google Inc. didn't exist yet. So after a rush to get the paperwork lined up, Google was incorporated on 4 September 1998 so the pair could bank the check. Later that month, the duo moved out of their dorm room and into the garbage of friend Suzanne in Menlo Park, California, complete with ping pong table and bright blue carpet, receiving further investment from Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, among others. Early in 1999, Page and Brin attempted to sell Google to Excite, then the number of two search engines behind Yahoo, for $1 million. But even after the pair had been talked down to $750,000, by Excite venture capitalist Vinod Khosla. Excite CEO George Bell rejected them, although why he did remained a matter of debate for years. Page and Brin had also reportedly attempted to sell their technology to then search engine Alta Vista and Yahoo in 1998 to no avail. With no buyer in sight, Google started hiring engineers and moved out of the garage to the office in Palo Alto in March 1999. In 2001, seeking so-called adult supervision for the company, Eric Schmidt was hired first as the chairman and then CEO, taking over from the Page. Skidden was the hired over 50 other candidates because he had been no Burning Man, but he has tasked with the traditional corporate side of the business, leaving Page and Byrne to continue to develop Google's product and technologies respectively. By the end of its first decade, Google had effectively won the search engine wars. PageRank had provided it its all first major leg up, letting it offer a better search experience than any of these competitors. Today this day, the Google homepage remains clean and sparse, offering nothing more than a logo, search, field, and two buttons. But the pivot that saw Google go from dominating a service to dominating an industry occurred when the company realized it needed to go outside its area of expertise and began an acquisition spree that would seed its evolution to the global behemoth it's at today. Arguably, its most important purchase was YouTube, bought for $1.65 billion in stock, then the largest purchase the company had made. YouTube was already a phenomenon. YouTube's ad revenue alone was projected to be $4 billion this year. Key behind Google's success. The layout of the search engine made its first impression, which earned innumerable points. According to the observation, the first time people tried Google, they saw a clear white page with only the logo and a search box. So they kept waiting for the whole page to load, only to find out that it was a formulated design. Unlike the previous search engines cluttered with all the sorts of images and news, Google's page invites citizens with a clean and organized positive visual space. The list of websites generated in the order of the accessibility adds to the user's convenience. The satisfactory search results leads to a satisfied user. Providing a Persian search result is considered the most valuable thing in any search engine. So many people waste away hours chasing links and content relating to their topic. Google holds a good search algorithm that does the work of digging out web pages, containing the keywords types in the search box and designating ranks called page ranks to relate links. The search engine crawls through the data and retrieves the desirable content. Interlinked websites make it more convenient to find information. Another good feature is speed. Fast loading sites are a public preference. Thus, Google provides preferential treatment to websites that loads quickly. Moreover, Google had come up with an update version called Google Instant, launched in the year 2010, that displayed information as quickly as possible, even as they typed their queries in the search box that generated a list of similar searches. In August 2015, Google opened up about its plan of reorganizing its interest as a conglomerate called Alphabet Inc. So Sundar Pichai took over as the CEO of Google with while Larry Page became the CEO of Alphabet Inc. And the advent of the company's expansion was with the acquisition and partnerships beyond the search engine. One of the most successful acquisitions was when Google acquired YouTube, a video sharing and publishing platform in 2006. A smart move made by them was their chain of services, which subsequently targeted the provision of efficiency in one's day-to-day activities. Some of these services include application design for work management and productivity, a medium for sending emails for instant messaging and video chats, cloud storage and navigation system, language translation, and much more. The Google Play Store app played a huge role in its popularity and it enables the installation of any application. This significantly increased the utility of Android and Chromebook. The search engine has owned about 225 organizations by now. That's huge. Well, currently, Google's aims at making bigger achievement in the cloud world. So could anyone challenge Google's dominance? It's believed that in 10 or 20 years of time, Google will still as considered a big company because of its current ambitions. Revenue no longer seems to be company's main concern. Instead of its primarily focus on innovating and bringing real user data for people to refer to. It is because of the quality and goal of providing efficiency to its user that Google is where is it now. Because it started strong and just kept getting better and better. It has become to go-to search engine of the internet. A free service is all that one needs to make the optimum use of it. Just Google it. So with this, here comes the end of this video. Hope you all guys will love it and found it informative. So don't forget to share and like our video and subscribe it if you haven't done yet. Meanwhile, please hit the bell icon for the upcoming months. Till then, take care. Bye bye. See you soon.
You're my heartbeat, my silent drum that is kicking me till I'm numb. I wanna feel the love.